Okay, I got 2 live wires right here. And they're not those. So they're the 2 wires that come out here. This is where there's an electrical heating element, baseboard heating element right here. That's good. Luckily, I'm not going to be messing with that like I am going to be messing with all these others. So far, so good. So I'm going to be, obviously I'm going to be starting with the electrical. I was debating on whether or not I should start with the fire blocking or with the electrical, so I've decided to go with the electrical for no other reason than it's light out, and therefore I don't need to have a shop light flooding this space to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take care of this now. The plan here in general is to get it off of the wall a little bit so that it sits right here in the middle of this cavity. Before we took down all the plaster and lath, it was just sitting right here. So we will mimic that, but we will make it a little more solid this time and put some blocking, some studs right here, and then have it sit kind of in the middle right there. Then we'll move down to the outlet down there and then go from there. Moment of truth. Yay. It works. Alright, good. Okay, with the that first section done, we're now going to move on to this. And a couple things that I've got to deal with here is number one, I'm going to put staples on this wire, on this stud. Next, I'm going to put a junction box right about here for these loose wires and for these cable wires down here. Turns out that one actually was hot. I checked it with the voltage detector and it was red, so that could have been bad news for us. And then I'm going to replace that outlet box down there. The strategy is, this was a double receptacle with an outlet on each side. Outlet on the other side is to our bedroom. This wire, this one right here, is the chewed on wire that needs to be replaced. And so regardless, I had to take that out. Same thing on the other side. It's the same kind of receptacle box. There's double. And so regardless, that's all going to have to come out. I think in my brain, the thing that makes sense is to temporarily put in just a normal receptacle here, with nothing going to our bedroom, just temporarily, and then coming back later. I didn't get any receptacles that were doubled up like that, so I think for just temporarily, in the meanwhile, I'll just put in all the outlets like I was planning on doing, and then I'll have to come back and either put in a junction box of some sort or get a new receptacle to feed into our side as well. Everything's all buttoned up. So excited to get back into a normal routine. Crazy few weeks. Hard drive footage being gone, to our boiler going out in the middle of that really cold snap up here in Minnesota. Great timing. And then sadly, Katie's grandma passing away. We are ready to get back into a normal routine and get back to working on this project especially. The electrical is finished. What I'm going to be working on next is the fire blocking. Come up with these bad boys. So what I've done here is, this is your typical 2x4. I've added a 1/2 inch strip to the back so that it can fit inside these actual 2x4 stud cavities. So I think because our youngest is sleeping, I think I have a workaround for cutting and making a bunch of noise for all the blocking. What I'm going to do is measure every stud cavity and write it all down, and then go downstairs outside and cut it all, one big batch cut, and then come up here and install it. Another evidence of an old house is stud spacing is not super consistent. Those 18 gauge nails are just temporary. We'll put screws in to secure it. So I think my guess is on these tubes is that they are for bringing the radiant heating up to this room, because there is none. And these go all the way down into the utility room where we just put in our new boiler. And so that's my guess. And so what I'm going to do is, for now, just leave them in the cavity, and then make sure when the day comes that we do want to put radiant heating up here, I'll just get into the wall there. So, well, I don't know if I'm getting any footage here, but there seemed to be an issue with the card I was using for this GoPro, and then it's also the same one I'm using in this current camera, so I don't know if I get stuck on this. It's not really your concern, but I'm getting a little exasperated with tools and equipment and technology, and it's all very frustrating. So I don't know if I have any footage on all the blocking that I've done. So all that blocking's in there, and there may be a wonder. Some of you might be wondering, why didn't you just take a 2x4 and just hold it up to each stud cavity and then make a mark and cut it? And I would have done it that way. You know, I didn't have to measure. I mean, doing it that way means I don't have to measure, but I had to make choices. First choice was do it that way, but then wait until our youngest is done napping. But by then, so many other things are getting in the way as far as eating up my time. The other option was to do what I did here and do it in a way where I could cut outside, just take all my measurements once up here, cut outside, and then hope for the best at this point. And I chose that route because I wanted to keep the momentum going on the project, and any step forward is progress. And maybe some people view it differently, but I am of the persuasion that, and maybe I learned this from my days of distance running. I did a marathon back in 2012. And the idea was that forward momentum, forward progress is all that's needed, right? You're on mile 10, you're really tired, you're struggling. To just stop is a bad idea. And even to sit down is even worse. Because at that point, you're not moving forward, you're stopping. And then the temptation to quit is nearly overpowering. And so if you're tired at mile 10, you don't stop, you don't sit down, you walk. And though walking might be viewed as weakness by some people, it is progress. It's forward progress. You're not stopping. You're continuing the momentum, and it is a mental relief towards the end of the race, and you have 16 more miles to go. So perhaps that's the mentality I'm taking here. That's the mentality I'm taking to the barn restoration. is any little thing that can be done and done in such a way that I'm making forward progress and the momentum is going, I'm not stopping, then I won't quit and I won't stop and I'll just keep going. So anyway, wow, that was too much. I'm going to keep working. I also don't have a framing nailer. That would make this go a lot easier. Now, these blocks are going to appear higher than those blocks because there's a floor joist right there. I won't have the ability to be flush with the floor, but I think that's okay as long as I'm blocking it off. So off camera, I went ahead and toenailed them all with screws, so they are locked in place. Not super concerned about how locked in place they are. They are not structural. They are merely there to be fire blocker. So now I gotta fill in some gaps, and I'm gonna do so with fire block. A real quick tip, when I was working for Jeremy Krause, he would always take off the previously used tip because it's still wet and fresh on the inside and just put it on a new can and then save the old ones, or the new ones, so that you can use them later. Really excited for this last section. I have been sort of dreaming of the day when I can finally put insulation up on these walls because that's such a significant step in this project. And it just feels really good to be at this point because from here on out, we're doing all the finishing work. So we're gonna roll the time lapse of this thing and get this hammered out. Since I don't have a straight edge and I'd rather just get this done instead of going up 2 flights of stairs, I've decided I'm gonna, for like these cavities that are a little bit wonky and for long straight cuts, what I'm gonna do is just score the length I need. My finger is where I need to cut it as far as width goes, and then that's just I'm just running it along the edge and then scoring it, so just making a cut, and that acts like my line. And I'll just hold it like this and go all the way down and then come back and just cut the rest of the insulation. just wanted to say thank you to everyone for all the patience that you have displayed to the channel. One of the other tragedies that has happened these last few weeks is that my brother-in-law lost his dad. There's been a lot of mourning going on in our family these last few weeks, and so just wanted to say that thank you for your patience on this channel. Those of you who are watching, thank you that you're giving us some room, and we will hopefully be posting again every week. That's the plan anyway, and so it's been quite the last few weeks. But that's what life is, right? You weather the storms and you keep taking one step forward. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.